Speaking of justice in this world, let me take a moment to recognize Sheila Crowley, who day in and day out continues to raise her voice for the housing needs of the very lowest income people in our country. People who need their voices to be heard in Washington like never before. Sheila understands that fundamentally, housing policy isn't about rules and regulations. It's not about bricks and mortar. It's about human beings. And I am enormously honored to serve as HUD Secretary for the very same reason that drives Sheila Crowley each and every day. And for the same reason that brings all of us here today. To make a difference in the lives of those people that society has too often forgotten. Thank you, Sheila. To help the most vulnerable and to respond swiftly, aggressively, and most of all, comprehensively to the housing and economic crisis. First, I'm proud that the Recovery Act put in place a safety net for those harmed most directly by the economic crisis, extending and increasing the unemployment insurance for 12 million Americans who lost their jobs, and making COBRA available so they could keep their health care as well. When I was here last year, we had already provided nearly $3 billion in public housing capital funds to over 3,100 public housing authorities nationwide, and we set a strict one-year deadline for those authorities to commit the funding to get it to work to specific projects with every single dollar that they had. And I am proud to say to you that when we hit that one-year mark on March 17th, PHAs had obligated 99.9% of their Recovery Act formula funds. 99.9%. Creating or retaining nearly 9,000 jobs and developing or rehabbing 150,000 units and counting. 150,000 units already. Meanwhile, 2 Recovery Act programs, the Housing Tax Credit Exchange Program and the Tax Credit Assistance Program, are jump-starting affordable housing development stalled by the collapse of the low-income housing tax credit market. These 2 programs together will create an estimated 126,000 units of new affordable housing or rehabbed affordable housing, while simultaneously creating tens of thousands of jobs. And I've seen the progress that we're making with those programs myself. Whether it's Will Straw, a father of 3 and a 30-year veteran of the construction industry who'd been put back to work on a site in Cincinnati, or Cornelius Carey, who didn't have consistent work for 7 years in construction, but is now working full-time as a construction worker at City Arts in Baltimore. Thanks to the Recovery Act, instead of wondering what's next, Will and Cornelius have jobs, stable incomes, and a reason to be hopeful. And let me assure you that these jobs that we're creating, that we are stepping up enforcement of Section 3 to ensure that state and local governments that receive HUD funding are giving job opportunities to low-income workers and public housing residents.